Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and in just a moment we're going to be looking back at, I think it's 9 hands that I played yesterday. What I've done is I've run some filters in my poker tracker to isolate spots that are going to be reviewable in GTO Wizard. Then I upload those hands and then I just review the hands where I make an EV loss. So all these hands, we're not saying we've won or lost all the hands, but we've made some kind of theoretical EV loss, and we're going to look at them all and see just how we did, see where we lost the EV at, and see if you found that right. Well, okay, we did lose EV there theoretically, but in practice, I'm fine with that because I was trying to exploit something or what have you. Last week, one of these videos just like took off, and somehow I just spiked and got 10x the normal amount of views my videos got. If one of you guys did share that and that was a reason for it, then thank you very much. If you could do it again, that would be magnificent. I couldn't figure out why it just took off and it spiked. It got like 600 something views, which was a pleasant surprise. So yeah, please do hit like, comment, share. Especially share it again if you were the guy who shared it, subscribe, etc. And yeah, just help push the videos out a little bit more. Again, I don't monetize this, it's just my hobby, but I would like to see a few more views to stop the likes of Craig PKR Part Anderson being a prick. So without further ado, let's get into the hands. We open aces blind versus blind. We get a call. We get 3 queen 9 flop. We check. Villain checks back. I mean, I guess I was going to go for check raise there because this villain looks like he might be aggro post flop. Didn't work out. Get the turn ace. We overbet. Villain calls. And we get the 9 river. We check. Villain bets. We jam. Villain calls. So, yeah, I'm happy with the line I took against this particular villain type. We don't have to check the flop, of course. We really don't have to check the flop. But I was almost certainly going for a check raise. That didn't come off. Overbet turn after checking. Fine with that. And then river. River full house. Again, we could just go with overbet river, I guess. We can go with non all in, 75% pot river. I think our options for the river should look something like check, some less than pot bets and some over bets. I think we're probably going to get marked down here for our flop line more than anything else, I would imagine. But we got marked down for something, and let's see what that was. So we were looking at this hand here that's just off screen, ironically. And this is the hand. So where did we get told off? Flop, it was fine with the... Oh, turn. We blundered the turn. Okay, didn't want the overbet. So flop, it's like fine with checking. It's mixing literally everything. He just didn't want the overbet on the turn. That isn't where I thought I would have blundered there. But we did. And that's why it's now an non-existent GTO spot, and we're not going to analyse the river. You didn't want the overbet. Check again. And now it's just like, yeah, do what you want, mate. Everything's 2 ticks because you fucked it. So, first hand, not good for the video, but I'm not unhappy with my line. Although we not overbetting the turn. Overbetting the turn was a bollocking. Here we are, queen 10 off in position. Blind versus blind. This player opens pretty wide from the small blind, 47%. Nothing to do but call here. Flop ourselves a gutter ball. He checks. I'm going to stab here quite a lot, I guess. I can get on board with some checking. I can get on board with just like betting 1/3 pot. Don't think we're probably going to have many big bets here. I think theory here is going to want to mix between like check and small. Could be wrong. We're going to find out. We do go with small. Villain calls. Turn a brick. Villain checks again. Um, I remember what I did in game. Pretty sure I overbet this turn. And I don't know if I like it or not. I don't know if we just want to bet smaller than overbet. We probably want to continue bluffing. I mean, we got Queen High when all said and done. But do we want to continue bluffing with an overbet? Which is what I did. And villain folded. So yeah. I think maybe we continue betting there, but maybe not for that size. It's going to be my takeaway of why I think we maybe got a blunder for that. Sorry, an EV loss for that one. Pre-flop, 2-tick call. Flop, check. Yeah, mixing between check and small bet. Mostly like nearly 80% of the time it's check or small bet, so I'm happy with myself with that. We did find the lower net choice option, but still happy that we identified what the spot was. Turn. Yeah, it's wanting mostly bets, but just not the size I used. Yeah, 75%. I thought that might be a. I went after seeing we had an EV loss. So that might be the size. I wouldn't be that comfortable going with this 33% again. To be honest with you, it's not a size I'd find very often when I'm playing. Usually, I'm going to be sizing up on the turn if I'm double barreling. So yeah, that's where we made the mistake there. Double barrel, so our frequency was fine in terms of like we're finding the bet more often than we're finding the check, but we got the sizing wrong. And I'd never mind if it's sizing errors that I'm making, I can usually live with them. To the next one, 2 6s. Open. You get a call from a whopper in the big blind. Flop. I mean, to flop, we should range bet at pretty high frequency. Do we bet sixes? So there's loads of hands I would bet here. I just bet all my air here for a big size. And probably my strategy on this flop is going to be probably check and overbet. And I don't think I want to put sixes into an overbet range here. So I'm probably going to go with check. Turn ace. Villain now bets. And I think I just fold. I mean, we haven't got very much equity against his value. We're crushed by his value. We're not even doing that great against his bluffs. I mean, maybe this is just a theory call, but in practice, I'm relatively comfortable just folding here. Yeah, we're getting bluffs sometimes. Not going to lose a huge amount of sleep over that. This guy is pretty fucking aggro, mind. Turn pro was 60%. He's got like way above average like bet per street stats. Maybe we just have to call here. I think if this is a theory call, I think against this guy, yeah, it's a mistake to fold. So if this is a call in theory, which I suspect it might be, then against this guy, it's a pretty big mistake to fold. I think this guy's more aggressive than your average player. So let's see. Yep, the turn's a mistake. Pre-flop's obviously fine. Flop, obviously fine. Turn. It's calling, but it's not making loads. I mean, it's not that far. I mean, against normal players, if I only see this like calls 0 EV and calls 0.29 and what have you, I'm like, right, well, okay, this is relatively close to being indifferent. So in games where people aren't finding quite as much aggression, if Salford's close to indifferent, then I'm just going to lean towards overfolding. So I think in general here, if this was against a more normal player, I'd be very happy with my fold. Against this guy, who's probably finding more, maybe it's just a call, but even then it's fucking close. And again, I'm not too worried. I'm really not too worried here that we've overfolded. So that's 3 out of 3 so far where I've been happy enough with my line, even though Theory's given me a small bollocking. Here we have 2 queens. We have in my opinion, bad aggressive fish opening. 3-bet button. He calls. You get a flop that's not ideal, to be honest with you. I still think we had the best hand, decent amount of the time. He's going to have quite a lot of continues on this board. I mean, he continues a lot versus C-bet in general. How often does he continue in 3-bet pots? He just forced a C-bet almost never. So I think we just have a mandatory C-bet against this guy, and probably for a chunky size, because he just isn't folding enough. We check. I go bit. I'm happy with this. Whether Theory wants me to do it or not on this board texture, I'm happy with this. Because the guy just doesn't find enough folds. He also doesn't find enough folds on the turn either. To turn, it's a complete break. Check. I think I'm just going to go with bets again here. Against this player. Against most players, in fact, but against this player in particular, I think it's just a mandatory bet spot. I have no issue with betting here. I wouldn't hate checking, maybe. No, I actually think I would hate checking. Yeah, I do. I'm trying to sit on the fence a bit there. No, against this player, it's just a bet, in my opinion. We do go with just over half pot. He jams. And it's not a comfortable spot. I remember this hand, I called it incredibly quickly because of who the villain is. I think against a lot of villains, this is a lot closer. But against this guy, it just fucking isn't. It's just a snap call, in my opinion. Which is what I did. And he turned up with that, which, I mean, from his point of view, is just, in my opinion, it's a complete slaughtering. There's been a massacre in his house there. So against this guy, I'm just really happy with my play. I wouldn't change anything I've done here against this guy. But Theory didn't like it for some reason, and we're going to find out what it was he didn't like. So up here now with the queens. It's only a very small EV loss, so it wasn't much he didn't like. Obviously, it's looking 3-bet pre. It's floppy, doesn't like. It's not liking my size or my frequency, maybe even. It's wanting to check, and then it's just wanting small bets and half pot. Probably because the board's so textured. You know, he has a lot of sets here, some 2 pairs, etc. Probably just don't get to see bet this board. There's big bets because of the texture of the board. Because usually, like lately, I've been seeing when I've been doing or studying, when we have over pairs in 3-bet pots, we're just piling money in. 75% is the highest frequency size used most of the time. This board texture probably a bit less because the villain can just have more. He can have sets. He can have every set in the deck. He can have Jack Queen. He can also have probably some of the 2 pairs, maybe not the 10-8 suited, the 9-8, the 10-9. Yeah, so I understand why this is a check and it's not a big bet. But against this opponent, I'm just not bothered. I'm just going to exploit what I think is a big leak he has. So he didn't like my size. Turn, when he checks, he wants check back again. When he bets, so he does want the size we chose. This was almost a 2-tick option. It was just a pip out from me, the 2-tick option. And when he jams, it's just pure calling. And it's, against this guy, it's an easy call. So happy days. Again, Theory's giving me a slight bollock in there, but against the player I was up against, I'm happy to take that bollock in and not change too much about what I did. Queen 10 offsuit. We open. We get a call from a really whaley guy in a small blind. We get a queen high, pretty textured flop. He checks. I think on these boards, probably not going to have a huge amount of betting. And I don't think we're going to have a lot of big betting either. Against a whale here, I wouldn't hate a little bit more big bet, but I think probably prefer check because of how aggressive he is down the streets. He's got these really aggro stats. Turn probe, doesn't matter now. I don't care what Theory tells me. This guy's got a turn probe of 91%. I'm going to be checking this back almost pure and just letting him do his thing on later streets. We do check, turn queen. He does probe, but he only probes 2 big blinds. So now do we have any raises? Again, this might be way off in theory, but we've got a particularly interesting non-theoretical villain type here. So maybe we have some raises here. What do I want to actually see myself do? Don't really care what Theory wants us to do. Do we have enough probe and fold? It's probe and fold 2 out of 2. So probably just call. And river deuce. He checks. And now I think anything from 75% to overbet. I have no real preference. Let's have a check. His river full to bet 62%. He only wins when he calls 33% of the time though. So when he's called 9 times and he's lost 6 of them. I think that just pushes me into overbet territory here, I think. Which is what we do. And Dylan folds. So yeah, theoretically, we probably did a lot of stuff wrong there. Let's see what it's telling me we did wrong in theory. And a slightly bigger EV loss here. Oops, and of course someone's knocking at my door and making a video. Just another parcel that my wife's spending. I'll never be a rich man. She does a lot of spending, although it is Christmas time. Or coming up, so she is going to be spending a bit more money buying presents and things. Anyways, yeah, this hand, where did we butcher it? River didn't like the overbet, liked everything until the river, and it didn't like the overbet. It just wanted to set 3/4 pot, and I get that. I think 3/4 pot would be my size against most normal players, but we deviated against this particular player type. And again, I'm not just trying to I'm not doing this. I'm doing this to actually try and learn. I'm not doing it to dismiss what theory is telling me. But again, this is another EV loss in theory that I think in practice, for the reasons we stated against this villain, I think it's fine. Because he's just calling too many rivers and losing. So why not try and win larger pots when he does find the calls? To the next one, ace 9 offsuit. Open blind versus blind. Calls. Flop a big ball of nothing. I'm just going to be checking this nearly all of the time, I would imagine. I don't know how much he was going to want to bet. He would, but that's not good enough, Reg. What do I think the split here is? I think it's probably going to have some bets. I don't think it's going to be like pure check. Maybe it is because it's going to be pure check. Don't sit on the fence, Reg. Do I think this is pure check? I think it's very, very high frequency, if not poor. That's what I'm going to go with. If it's not, then we're learning something. Check. Bet. Not folding yet. Reg. Reg. I can only imagine this is a lapse of concentration from me. It has to be, because that's just not a fold. And that isn't a fold I would consciously make. So there's a few reasons why I could lose concentration. And this isn't me making excuses. This is a bad fold. It's clearly a pretty big mistake in my opinion. But this isn't a conscious decision I made. What will be happening here is I may be in a spot at another table and I'm just clearing the decks, if you will. It could be that I was try to find another table to load up. There'll be a reason, because this is a lack of concentration. This isn't a lack of knowledge. This isn't me thinking, oh, this is a fold. This is me just lapsing in concentration. So yeah, I'm going to take this one on the chin. It's bad. It's not good. It's not close to good enough, and I'm not going to pretend it is. But this isn't a conscious decision I made to fold here. This will be me not really paying attention and just be like, right, oh, well, okay, I'll assume this guy looks a bit passive and this, that, and the other, and I'll just be like, fold, get out next hand. Yeah, definite lack of concentration. That's not an excuse. It's shit. It's not good enough. But it's not a lack of knowledge, this one. Yeah, it's close to being a blunder on the flop. So it is checking pure, as I finally decided it was. And then we just don't fold here. I mean, it's not a slam dunk call by any stretch. I mean, again, if you look at this spot, I mean, it's close to indifferent. It's not a hugely profitable spot. So even though I was like, my instant reaction was call, I actually don't think the fold's as bad as it fucking looks now. I was really pissed off with myself. But now I'm seeing that there's just not that much EV in call here. I mean, yeah, we're pure calling. But there's it's not a huge thing. It's not an enormous fucking EV loss against a passive player. I mean, I'm still always calling here, but I thought this would have been a far greater EV loss than this. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, that is interesting because I presume this would be quite a big EV loss, like way over that, maybe 1+, 2+, maybe. Yeah, wasn't as bad a fold as I first thought, but definitely the worst hand of the video, unless there's even worse to come. Ace 10 off, open the button, call from a fish in the big blind, flop nothing. He donks. Donkey 37%. We have a good shot, and we have 2 overcards. Don't think there's any raising here. I think there's just calling. Turn deuce. He now bets again. 21% equity required. Do we have 21% equity here? We probably do. And I imagine I'm going to fold here. But we just have the right price. 21% equity. 2 overs and a gut shot. Yeah, this is a bad fold. And this will have been a conscious decision to fold here. This will have been me like, right, okay, I'm not calling a second barrel with just ace 10 high here. I think this is a bad fold by me. Bad fold. Yeah, this one I'm not happy with. This one I am genuinely, legitimately not happy with. Yeah, and it's a bigger EV loss than the last one. Pre-flop and flop are completely fine. We're getting the 2-tick option on both. Turn. Yeah, again, we're losing twice as much EV as we were in the last hand. Yeah, this is a last hand. I thought like maybe it was a lapse of concentration, and it wasn't a huge EV mistake. This still isn't an enormous EV mistake, but we're just getting the right price to continue, so we should just continue. That is not good for me. I'm not happy with that one. But again, it's not the it's. If they're the biggest mistakes you're making in sessions, slightly overfolding, you're really not doing too badly. On to the next hand, ace jack offsuit. We open, call again. This is the same play from last time, I think. Is it? No, it's not. It's a play from the hand before, I guess. Is it? I don't fucking know. I'm sure we've seen this guy. Yeah, we've seen him here. I think it's the same guy. 75-23. Yeah, it's the same guy. We open. He calls. We get this flop. I think probably range bet this flop, even with a hand as good as ace jack. Check back sometimes and range bet. This guy does have he has that high probe turn frequency. So I think, knowing he has this high turn probe frequency, I don't mind range betting here because I don't want to face a probe as much. When we're a top pair, like, yeah, go on, mate, you probe, happy days. We don't really want to, we're not as happy facing. We're still going to call a probe with ace jack on most turns from this player in particular. But I think I prefer range betting. Here's what I did. Villain calls. Turn deuce. Villain checks. And I think our strategy after range betting here on this brick turn is going to be overbet or check. It's going to be our frequency on this. It's going to be our options on this turn card. Do I need to overbet ace jack? I doubt it. I doubt it. I think if I was playing this hand again now, I would prefer check back here. But I wouldn't be surprised to see me overbet. No, we do check back. And ribbons break. Villain checks. I just think we have showdown value here against this player. I don't think we need to bluff. I think we just have enough showdown value. And we did win the pot, but we lost EV, apparently. And Floppy didn't like the bet. Well, it didn't like the size we chose, at least. Check. Yeah, no, it's just pure checking. It's just pure checking, which I don't hate at all. I think against this player because he's got this like desire to probe a lot. Maybe we can just defend versus his probes and let's check back this and just be like, right, okay, we're fine. You're probing, good for you. Call. But I'd rather check back slightly stronger hands if we're going to try and call this guy down. I'd rather have a pair or something. So maybe if we had like nines, tens, jacks, etc. here, maybe even hands like pocket sixes, pocket sevens. I think there'd be better call downs than maybe ace jack would be. But he's probing that often. Maybe ace jack's fine too. I don't know, to be honest with you. Then as played, it's just like, yeah, fine, mate, just check down now. Take your showdown value, we get 2 ticks. So yeah, it didn't like the flop C bet. I understand why I did it, and I'm not saying I stand by it, but I think it's fine. How much EV is it saying we lost on the flop? Not a lot. It's minute. Checking's like 1.24 EV. Betting's 1.21. Yeah, so again, I'm really quite pleased with like these spots today, and like the EV losses they've not been terrible for the most part. Here we have this one's probably not going to be a GTO spot. Rat and Villain randomly 6xing. I mean, we're just going to call with the king 10 off. Maybe we can just fold versus 6x. He bets quarter pot on the flop. I think we just call here. Try and make our hand against someone who's clearly atrocious at poker. Turn is a jack. He now checks. I think I want to start bluffing against this guy. Like 6x pre, quarter pot, then check. I don't think he has an ace. I don't think he has a jack. So I just want to start bluffing against this range. I don't think is ace x or jack x very often. We do go with a small bet. And here I'm just trying to put a little bit of pressure on stuff like pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket tens, etc. Not expecting this to work. I'm doing this with the intention of double barreling. Like just hopefully get him to cap his range a little bit further and then try and take him off it on the end. That is going to be my strategy here, I would imagine. He calls. River brick. He checks. And yeah, I think we just have like large. I don't think we need to overbet here. I think 75%. I think by then we're probably getting folds from pocket tens for certain. Maybe pocket queens, maybe pocket kings. I think like 3/4 pot. Oh, we go with overbet. Okay. I think that's a little bit unnecessary in terms of sizing. Villain did fold though, so let's have a look. Again, how we did in theory here versus practice against the player type. So pre-flop's just calling, but obviously it's not recognising the fact that he's gone 6x. Flop. Pure call. Turn, check. It's wanting us to check back nearly all the time. I don't think I like that. I really don't think I like it against this particular villain. I think against better players who are going to be checking a decent amount of ace-x here on this turn, I completely get why it's checking back. Because ace-x isn't checking to check fold. I doubt this player, to just remind ourselves of the player. I don't think he's that guy who's like quarter potting the flop with an ace and then checking the turn. I'm not saying he's never doing it, but I think it's like he isn't going to have the correct amount of ace-x here in this line, in my opinion. And I don't think he's going to have any jack-x or very little jack-x. So, yeah, fine, we shouldn't have done this. We're getting the inaccuracy. Again, against a player type, and I'm not trying to like poo-poo theory here. I'm comfortable with what I did in practice. And then river, it just wants, it's happy with overbet, and I'm happy with overbet. So even though like I don't feel like I've learned much from this video, from this review session, because I've had, apart from like the ace deuce, sorry, the board where we folded the ace nine or whatever it was, I think I've been able to validate all my EV losses, and this isn't me cherry picking, because what I've been doing here, as you can see, like I've just like putting all the hands in. And I've just been reviewing the ones where we've had EV losses. I don't really see the point in reviewing the ones where that the EV loss is nothing. Don't really know what I'm expecting to learn from that. So I'm just reviewing the ones where we have the EV losses. I think that's a better way to streamline my study, so I'm getting the most out of the time I'm putting into studying. So yeah, I'm really happy with how my game's going at the minute. I feel like I'm improving. Like all these EV losses from that video, none of them were that big. There was no like enormous blunders. Like when I first started doing this, I was popping blunders in left and right, and finding myself blundering way less. All the work I'm putting in is definitely having a positive impact in my game. I'm definitely improving theoretically as a player, and I don't think it's hurting me in practice because, as you saw in those spots, I'm kind of accepting what theory is. I'm like, right, okay, I think I know what theory is doing here, and I've deviated for this reason. So if I'm just getting a better idea of what theory wants to do, then surely my deviations are just going to be better. It's going to help me improve my win rate against fish and improve my win rate against good players too. I'm really happy with the way things are going. I guess because it's the end of the month, we can have a quick look at how the month's gone in general. So here we are. I've been a winner in every game format I've played this month. Put in 132 hours with like the rest of today to go, so maybe that'll get to 136 hours, 137 maybe, which is 13 short of the goal I set for 150 hours. But I did have a particularly unpleasant bout of vertigo last week, which cost me maybe around 3 days playing time. And I've also been putting a bit more work into my study lately, a bit more time into my study, which is really good. So overall, I'm not going to gripe about missing my hours played target by what's looking like going to be around 15 hours. Really not going to complain about that. My win rate hasn't been great. Over the course of the month, just 3.93, which is bad. These games, especially, these are really soft games. To only win at 5 bigs 100 is not very good. But we did get a rocky start to the month where my mental game I had a big mental game crash here. And it took a fair bit of recovering from, to be honest with you. And so if you'd have said to me at this point in the month, Reg, you're still going to have like a plus €557 a month before rake back, I'd have been like, fucking yeah, I'll snap your hand off for that. And then when you look at like the all-in adjusted, we should have had an €800 a month. I'm fucking delighted with that. Been a really like solid recovery, proper solid recovery, and it's on the back of just hard work and grinding hard, studying, like putting more actual effective study in. I couldn't be happy with the way things are starting to go. This is probably a blessing in disguise. This, because it kicked my ass. It really kicked my ass into like, come on, Reg, that's not good enough. This was a mental game crash due to just not playing very well. And then after that, we had another like mental game blippy where it's a lot of break even shit going on. Where I frankly, just wasn't playing very well. And then like the last, like from this dip here again. So basically, the last 24,000 hands. I think I deserve this success because I've started putting loads of work in. And yeah, there's no doubt I've been some run good here catching up. But really happy with how it's gone at the end. If we look at this in graph format, it's not going to look very good because we've only got a small window to be capturing it from. So we're putting these winnings in big blinds so we can see how we're doing in terms of like big blinds per 100 in like red line. So we've lost 9,000 big blinds in 70,000 hands. So that's a losing, probably that minus 12 bigs 100 at red line. It's not ideal. I prefer to be around the minus 10 or better, but there'll be people with far worse than that. But there's definitely some room for improvement with that. I think in speed poker, if we just put the speed poker, it wouldn't be as much as that. I think a lot of it will be in the softer games I play where we just got loads of multi-way flops. So I'm not too worried about that. Get rid of that, put the all-in equity in. So this is how that graph is shaping up in terms of all-in EV. Yeah, that's a nice shaped graph. We won 4,000 big blinds in all-in EV, which is 40 buy-ins. Fair enough, it's in 70,000 hands, but we won 40 buy-ins in all-in EV. I mean, most players, to be frank, they give the fucking right arm to win 40 buy-ins in a month. It's over a buy-in a day in all-in EV. That's pretty good. I say that at the start of the month this year, I was fucking furious. I was really cross with myself. Did quite a lot of soul searching. Did well, recovered. Then we had this again here, and I know in this spell here, for some reason, we had like a bit of a lull again. But then from here on onwards, I decided to just give myself a good kick up the ass. It's gone really well. Like I said, I think um, it's going to sound like an entitled cunt, but I think I deserve this success at the end of the month for all the work I'd put in. So yeah, the goals for November. Now here are my goals for November from the Discord group I created to replace the Facebook group. If you haven't joined the Discord group, then there's a link beneath the video for it. If that link is out of date because you're watching this many months or many weeks after the video was first put live, check out one of my more recent videos. I'll have a more up-to-date link for this Discord. I would recommend you join it. So my goals for the remainder of the year: 106 hours per month. I know you can read this, but I'm reading it anyway. Minimum productivity, 120 of which will be playing. That's going to be easy. And review hands on my own, review hands with peers like we do in group chats here, sometimes or in private chats. Working with others like I do with Simon, like I do with Owen, like I am doing with another couple of people privately. Work on my current biggest weakness rather than scattergunning the work I do. Yeah, for instance, this week I'm going to be drilling small blind versus blind spots because it's area and weekend. So always like focus on like the area I think I'm doing the worst in and drill those spots. Be less obsessive over where I play. I kind of like I either want to place one place or another, and I think like mixing some speed poker in with some reg tables in, maybe a bit of Sky, maybe a bit of Unibet. It's unfortunate with Sky and Unibet because we can't review hands properly from those. Um, yeah, just like be less bothered about where I play and just play where I feel like playing at the time. This is what we're trying to do here right now. Massively improve my autopilot game. Significantly like upgrade my autopilot, which is what we're doing with all these hand reviews. By just hopefully building better default lines. And if I'm like constantly getting marked down for a particular line I'm taking, and that becomes apparent over 4, 5, 6 sessions or whatever then hopefully just put a better line in place for that, and then it'll stop coming up as much in videos, in reviews. Don't ease up. Hold myself to account more. Fix, improve my mental game. That was really bad this month at this first half of the month. I got a lot of this from watching a recent Phil Galfond video. Quit early when I know I'm playing like a cunt. Play longer when I'm playing good games. Everyone knows this already, but reminding myself to do it is never a bad thing. Try and be more professional and treat the game players with respect that the game and the other players deserve. That's important because I sometimes have too many like default strategy. When I play speed poker, I'm like, fuck it, everyone's a fucking nit. So just overfold everything. Don't worry about it. And then when I'm playing in the soft games I'm playing in, like everyone's fucking dog shit. Doesn't matter what you do. Most of it's going to be plus EV. Just be more like respectful to the game and like try and just focus more. But that should have just been focus more on each individual spot. So even though we want to improve our autopilot game, because all of us have one and it's probably the one we play more than anything else, this try to be more professional could have been just try and be more fucking focused when you play. And then my last goal is just like do everything above, like constantly refer back to this, make sure I'm holding myself account to it, and don't worry about results. They'll take care of themselves. If I do all of this, then I'll have good results unless I run like shit. And if I run like shit, there's nothing I can do about it. So there we go. That's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back probably tomorrow with another video reviewing hands I played today from wherever it is I'm playing. I've got a bit of a feeling for playing some. I just did a video with Simon on 888 Snap, and I think I might want to play a little bit of that for an hour or so right now because it's currently 12:20, and I only want to play till around 1:30. Then I want to have a nap before it's too late. So yeah, I think we're going to go put an hour of 888 snapping if the game's running, and those probably be the hands that we'll review tomorrow. So take care, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you then. Bye for now.